Hello, and welcome back to the Become That Girl Society, where we discuss leveling up strategies so you can become the girl of your dreams. In this space, we don't just glow up, we wise up. We take the lessons hiding in plain sight and use them to strengthen our self worth, sharpen our intuition, and protect our peace. This is part one in a series of videos analyzing the dynamics between Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and her detractors, the royals, trolls, and the media, all of whom sought to destroy her. Yet she continues to win and thrive. She now has a cooking show, a new brand, and a podcast all coming out, and we're only just getting to April. Let that sink in. Meghan has endured 7 years of relentless attacks from the tabloids, online trolls, and even her own in-laws, yet she has never stopped creating, evolving, or building. That is the definition of grace under fire. She is a real-life example of how a woman can be vilified for simply existing in her power and yet refuse to shrink. That kind of resilience doesn't just happen by accident, it's cultivated, and it's something we can all learn from. Let me be clear, we are pro-Meghan here, and pathetic haters will be blocked. These videos are for educational purposes. Well-known figures and celebrities can be used as a canvas to unpack issues we can learn from. And there's a lot to be learned from observing the last 7 years of Meghan's life and how she has navigated constant hate while emerging as a winner. Because whether you're a duchess or a student, a businesswoman or a stay-at-home mom, jealousy is a universal experience. Envy doesn't need a crown to operate. It can show up in your workplace, your friend group, your extended family. So let's use Meghan's story as a masterclass on how to recognize envy, respond to it, and rise above it. In today's video, I want to address something Meghan said in the Oprah interview because it forms the foundation of this discussion. The silent, often unseen dynamics that happen in toxic systems where hierarchy, ego, and outdated ideas of superiority dominate. Sometimes the resistance you face has nothing to do with who you are and everything to do with who someone thinks you should be. Meghan mentioned in the interview that she couldn't make sense of why the royal family wouldn't essentially use her as a bridge to connect with people of color, and the Commonwealth to create more likability, modernity, and relatability for an institution that is still seen as outdated. And she was right. From a PR and strategic standpoint, her entry into the royal family was a golden opportunity. Meghan had global appeal, media experience, and philanthropic credentials. She was charismatic, polished, and able to relate to millions of people the royals had long struggled to connect with. She was a modern-day princess with purpose, and that should have been a gift. And here's why that's a problem. If someone, or in this case, a group of people, believes they are, by default, better than you, they are not only going to reject the idea that you can help them, they'll be offended by it, because the help threatens their illusion of superiority. Accepting her help would require admitting that she has value, and more than that, value they don't possess. And when institutions like the monarchy are built on rigid hierarchy, titles, bloodlines, and centuries of supremacy, acknowledging an outsider's worth is seen as weakness. To someone who isn't envious, what Meghan said actually makes perfect sense. It would have benefited the royal family greatly to embrace her. But that would require humility, acknowledging just how popular and impactful she is. It would disrupt the institutional and family hierarchy that dictates everyone must kneel to those closer to the crown. That's the toxic power of hierarchy. It forces people to defend their position, even when cooperation would be more fruitful. In the royal setting, Meghan's presence disrupted the traditional order, not because she tried to, but because she was radiant, loved, and unbothered by their centuries-old pecking order. That alone made her a threat. This applies whether you're a duchess or an average person. You cannot help someone who feels they are better than you, because in their eyes, you are beneath them. To them, it would be like taking life advice from a dog. And that's the twisted thing about ego. It won't let some people receive wisdom unless it comes from someone they already admire or fear. If they've decided you're below them, you could hand them the key to their dream life, and they'd still slam the door in your face. Why? Because your glow offends their shadow. Your kindness highlights their cruelty. Your peace reminds them how chaotic they feel inside. It's even worse if you're more popular, beautiful, creative, and multi-talented, as Meghan is. And let's be clear, Meghan is not in competition with the royals. She's just being herself. You are not in competition with someone who is envious of you. But when someone is envious, they create a one-sided competition in their minds where they have to win, even if they'd actually have a better chance of winning with your help. And that's the saddest part. They sabotage their own blessings. They reject the very person who could help them soar, just because they can't bear the thought of that person being the source of their success. Envy makes people delusional. They rewrite reality in their heads just to feel superior. And often, you don't even know you're part of the competition until it's too late. As far as they were concerned, no one could compete with them. And yet, here you are, shining brightly. Your light doesn't ask for permission, it just shines. And when people have built their entire identity on being the center of attention, your presence, without even trying, can feel like a threat. That's not your fault. It's their wound. The irony is that by rejecting Meghan and fueling the hate surrounding her, they are ultimately destroying themselves. Self-destruction is the fifth and final stage of envy because you cannot destroy someone who is anointed. In trying to do so, you are digging a grave for yourself. This is the divine protection that comes with walking in purpose. When you are chosen, when you are aligned with your higher path, no amount of slander, sabotage, or smear campaigns can stop your destiny. In fact, every attack becomes a setup for your elevation. Ask history. It always ends the same way. A lot of people, especially those who are naturally kind and empathetic, love to take on the role of the helper, the person who elevates others. But please remember this. Sometimes, when you try to help someone, what actually happens is that you remind them of what they are not. And that can be dangerous because in their mind, you're not being helpful, you're showing off. You're not being generous, you're patronizing. When people are insecure, even your kindness feels like a threat. So be discerning. Protect your energy. You are not sent here to water dead plants. You are sent here to bloom. And that means recognizing when to stop pouring into those who only offer you poison in return. And that's the part most people struggle with, knowing when to walk away. Especially if you're someone who believes in second chances, in redemption, in being the bigger person. But the truth is, constantly showing up for people who are committed to misunderstanding you is not noble. It's self-destructive. Meghan walked away. Not because she was weak, but because she was wise. And we have to normalize that, walking away from toxic dynamics, whether in your workplace, your friend group, or even your family, is not a sign of failure. It's a declaration that your peace is non-negotiable. Some people need you to stay small. Even if they have acres of land dotted with castles, entire kingdoms, and diamond crowns, they need you to doubt yourself so they can feel secure. They will smile to your face while secretly hoping you dim your light. And when you dare to shine anyway, they will punish you for it. That's what Meghan faced. Not just racism or classism, but ego protectionism, a deeply entrenched institution that couldn't bear to share the spotlight with someone who hadn't earned her place the traditional way and had the genuine love of the people, not sheep like idol worship because an entire system has force-fed them the idea that they should worship royalty. Meghan's very existence challenged that system. Her grace, her empathy, her global appeal, all of it flew in the face of the rigid structure the royals depend on to keep themselves relevant. And here's what we can learn from that. When you disrupt a toxic hierarchy simply by being yourself, the system will try to make you the villain. You'll be called difficult, dramatic, arrogant, ungrateful. Sound familiar? I bet it does, and you listening aren't even a royal. But you must remember, the labels they try to slap on you say more about their fear than your flaws. Because deep down, they know what you are. A mirror. You reflect their insecurities, their stagnancy, their irrelevance. You expose the cracks in their facade just by showing up fully in your power. And that terrifies them. So what do? They try to break the mirror. But here's the truth. A shattered mirror still reflects. Even when they try to distort your image, your essence remains. So if you've ever felt punished for simply being yourself, if you've ever been alienated by people who should have celebrated you, if you've ever had your light mistaken for arrogance or your confidence mistaken for competition, welcome to the club. You're not the problem. You're the cycle breaker, the one who didn't just follow the script, you rewrote it. And that's threatening, but it's also powerful. Your greatness, your authenticity offends your haters because people who try to silence you are always the ones who fear what you might do or say. People who try to exclude you are always the ones who know you don't need them to belong. And people who try to dim your light are always the ones sitting in the dark. So take the Meghan approach, walk away, glow up, and win publicly. Let your success be the loudest classy clapback. Let your joy be the final word. Let your peace be the proof that they never had any real power over you. This is part 1 of our series on Duchess Meghan. There's more to come. Make sure to subscribe, share this with your bestie, and leave a comment below if you've ever dealt with these dynamics in your own life. Because trust me, you are not alone. And no matter how much they try to dim it, your light is divine. Keep shining, and I'll see you in the next one.